Hi, everyone. This is the second season where the standard community, we come together and we develop something in the open source space. This particular season, though, is very special because, as you can see, the last season we were developing a .NET library for OpenAI. Now that we have a library that allows us to interact and work with AI, now I want to start a new season with the community where we're basically building on top of that solid foundation, and I want us to be able to leverage that into something that actually impacts and benefits people out there, whether they have technical background or not. If you're not if you haven't seen, I did a quick kind of introduction to the idea that I want to build. I called it Entity Intelligence, and it's just a very basic project name. And what this entity intelligence does really is that it's the idea about building, like, to kind of summarize this for you. um you're basically, in its essence, this is the shot right here. In essence, you're basically writing a natural query, and this natural query is being translated into SQL. So, people could just type in all the ideas that they have, all the stuff that they need from a data source, and all they have to do is just give that library the data source, the connection string for the SQL server, and just let it do its magic. So we know that we are miles and miles away from telling just your regular data consumer, go ahead and train a model and have the labeling right and have all that. It's just not practical, not something that people can use today in this day and age. Yeah, it's great, if you dig enough into it, you'll get to the bottom of it. But what I really want to do here is that to bring AI to people who are not necessarily technical, to be able to leverage it and take advantage of it. And hey Greg, I see Greg right here saying, "Hey guys, hey Greg, nice to see you." Um, uh, I'm joined today, to start this season. I'm joined today by my dear friend Kailu, who you will not be able to see because he doesn't like to use the camera too much. Hey Kay, how are you doing?
Good, good.
Good.
Hello, guys.
So, Kailu, we want to build this project, and let me kind of give people a high-level architecture about what I want to implement. First of all, from a usability standpoint, just to kind of give people the end game. What is the end game here? The end game is to be able to go and say, here is my var entity intelligence client equal new entity intelligence client, and then you just pass to this guy a connection string. And that's it. And from there, you go and say entity intelligence client.query async. And then you pass in a natural query in here. Okay. It's just very sweet and simple, right? To be able to just give people that kind of simplicity and opportunity to kind of, first of all, we're starting with the developers, right? So we're going with the developers and we're saying, okay, for software engineers out there, here's how you can leverage AI today to work with your existing data. But moving onwards past this project, we want to build a desktop application or a web application where people could actually execute that communication just by simply just like the minimum amount of knowledge. I really just want a grandma in Nebraska to be able to use this system, to be able to communicate with the system and work with the system seamlessly without having to think too much about, SQL queries or anything like that. Be able to generate reports and all that kind of stuff. PUBG Noob says thanks for next season session. First was very amazing, and I learned a lot of things. The standard was amazing, mind blowing way. Thank you, PUBG. Okay, so this is the goal, Kate, right? Something super simple, super intelligent, and people just pass in a natural query and be able to interact with their data, right? Data is very important. People are always looking for answers. 99.9% of the people that are working with data are not necessarily technical people. They're people that want to make decisions, whether they're marketing or finance or whatever the case may be. And we want to enable these people to kind of communicate with these systems and work with these systems seamlessly. So what's the architecture of this is supposed to look like? Let's design this thing, right? Let's go ahead and open up the blackboard here and let's design this thing together. Hey, Ronald, morning. Let's go over here and let's share the screen on this. Here you go. Okay, so we know that from a high level perspective, right, there is some consumer of some library, and this consumer is basically going to call the library. So this is EI.net, EI.net. I hope that name is not reserved in NuGet because I'd like to use that. I think it sounds pretty cool. And AI.net will basically go and interact with some external system, intelligent system for AI, right? It will be open AI for us to kind of proof of concept this stuff, but also it will be communicating with a data source, right? By the way, there's some very, very interesting challenges, like out of the POC that I created, there will be some crazy challenges. What kind of database, what kind of storage are you working with? Whether that storage supports, being, queried in a certain way, whatever the AI is generating, can we tell AI, oh, this is SQL Server, 2005 versus 2015, or is this MySQL or a NoSQL? There is a plethora of craziness that are going on in this project that I just can't wait to kind of tackle with the community and be able to work with the community to bring something like that to the light. And as usual, for people who are familiar with the tri-nature theory, this is your exposure, this is your intelligence, and something out there as an API or an interface will allow people to kind of work with the system accordingly. What do you think, Kailu? Does this sound like a good plan?
I assume there is much more within the EI.net area, right?
A lot more. This
This
is
is just
like,
a high level. Yeah,
oh yeah, that's our HLL, right? The
yeah,
high
yeah.
level architecture, right?
Yeah.
This is just, hey, here's an idea, right? We don't know, it sounds like a great endeavor. Like, you started to see this, like each and every, actually, let me simplify this for people because I talked to a couple of engineers and they were like, I don't know what's HLA is, architecture, that. So this is the high level architecture. Go and talk to AI, get a query back, and then go hit the database.
And
Okay, it
then
is it, it is available. Good. Thank you, Greg.
ideally, yeah,
Yeah.
ideally, I mean, we want the database to be any kind of database, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether SQL,
Yep.
NoSQL, or maybe even Excel or anything like that. That
Yep.
holds data, anything that holds big data, a bunch of data, basically.
Yep. And uh, I guess V1, what's the most used database in the world, right? And that will be our guy. I'm thinking SQL, but I don't know. Let's find out. How about we find out together? Like this is also another lesson in terms of, yeah, you want to have big crazy ideas, but you also have to stay feet on the ground. What can you do?
Mm,
Most used database
mm.
in the world,
Because
database
a,
technology.
a lot of people don't know SQL, but they use Excel or anything like that, right?
Ooh, now we're talking. See, even Eltris just said that. He said Access or Excel. That's what people use the most. Interesting. And here's another surprise for you. So MySQL, a lot of MySQL. I wonder if Dapper knows how to talk to MySQL. It should, right? Because I'm thinking about Dapper this time with MySQL. Yeah, I guess so. So MySQL is the most used in the world. I wonder at the enterprise level, enterprise.
Database technology.
Yeah, Oracle. Oracle
Yeah,
wins.
I mean, yeah, these guys pretty much their SQL, right?
Yeah, I know they do all the way up to government stuff. Like they will build like, systems that are high availability, high, I guess what's that guy's name? Crazy guy for the Larry or something. I guess he won that war, right? Oh, did they change the CEO? I didn't know that they changed the CEO. Interesting. Yeah, Larry Ellison.
Cats. Okay,
That guy. That guy
okay.
right here. I didn't
Mm,
know that guy hated Bill Gates. He was so jealous. He wanted to run his own to start his own operating system like Windows. There's a whole story behind that guy, but nonetheless, he's a genius and he works a lot. And that was one of the things that he succeeded at. He built Oracle, right? So okay, so I guess we could start. Do you want to do MySQL? I don't mind like running a MySQL server, right? In fact, actually, just the fact that we can communicate with the query, it doesn't really matter. Like talking to the database
Yeah,
will be abstract enough because you're working with a controller
yeah,
and whatnot. Um,
yeah.
so Eltra says Excel is the most used DB in practice. Yeah, a lot of people use Excel. It's true. I don't know if it was Google Docs or something, Google Sheets,
Google
AI. I know
spreadsheet.
that they
Yeah.
started doing things with AI and Google Organize with AI and Google Sheets. Does it let you query though? Let's see. Query AI and Google Sheet, how to use Chat GPT. Yeah, I guess it's not a thing. We could start with Excel, dude. Like it doesn't matter really what the technology is, right? We can definitely just build the plugin or build whatever to communicate with whatever data storage. So here's what I have. I have SQL, I have MySQL, and I have Excel or Access. What route do you want to go? Yeah, we are making executive
Let's
decisions on a live stream.
let's let's start with basic,
Let's start with basic.
the basic ones, which is where we are aiming at the beginning.
Yeah. So Ronald is asking this guy, how do you teach the OpenAI the data schema? Do you feed it the create script? No, no, no. Let me show you. So if you look at this POC that I created, let's see here. Entity. Let's see. The intelligence. There you go. If you look at the POC, I basically go like this, Ronald, and I say, so if you go to standard data and here's the client, I literally just run this particular query here, this query here, and it goes and pulls all the tables. And I group these tables by table name, and then I generate a full query. This full query is basically finding every table and every column and its data type. It's wild. So it's basically a SQL query that hits the database and then pulls every table and every single data type on that table. Actually, why don't I just show you in action? Like here's the query, and here is our SQL server. I probably still have it in here even. Just a second there. Here you go. And I could just probably just run it now here. So there's that query. I hope it doesn't barf. Yeah, of course it will because of the yeah, it went and added this whole. I find and replace. Yes, I can. Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, can I run this now? Oh, it still has one. Let's see. Something like this. And yeah, there's another one. I guess the find replace is useless. It just didn't do anything for me here. How about now? Yeah, look at this. So, oh, it's very small. I don't think you guys will be able to see this. Let me increase the size on my screen here, just so people understand. So here's 175. Let me go back here. Let me share the screen. So figuring out the, yeah, there you go. This should be visible. Can you see it, Kay? From your side, can you see the
I can
the
see
little,
the script, but I don't see the tables.
you see the tables and the data types, right? I think you should be. Like, do you see the results? You see how it says
I can see it. That's a little.
a bit too small?
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, in here it's basically saying table names and then the other table names, and then there's some system diagrams that I was playing around with, and then the data type for each and every one of them. So Ronald, just to answer your question, this is how we're feeding it. Now, another interesting challenge that I ran into was, well, what if you have 20,000 database tables, which is very, very real. Like a lot of people will have a lot of database tables, right? And you are only limited by the amount of tokens that you can have in a particular OpenAI request. Like OpenAI will not let you have more than about 4,500, right, tokens per request, and that includes the response as well. So how do you solve that problem, right? Anyway, because I really want people to see what the results look like, I'm gonna print it out in a note here because Greg just said that I guess we still can't see it. This is what it looks like basically. So look how it says here's a student table and here's the column name and here's the type and so on. So I group these and I basically literally just kind of list all the data types and then I go give that to AI and then AI will try to process that and work with that. Okay, just to answer that question. So Kailu, going back to the architecture, good question, Ronald. This is a good question. Um, let's go back to the architecture here, high level architecture. This here is the overarching kind of idea, right? And at some point in time, Kailu, I really want this to be kind of localized, self-hosted. And I have friends in little places that could probably help me with that kind of stuff. And we could kind of build a llama model for the .NET community where people could just plug and play. You could just run it and it just runs, right? Um, the reason why we need the self-hosted model is because we really need that um, we really need to know. Well, first of all, we can't have people dependent on API calls to do that kind of stuff. That's a big security issue, right? Because whatever data you're giving OpenAI, be like, hey, use at your own risk. But more important than this is it's just not practical. Like imagine a system that's, running. You have a sales team, 400 sales team, and they're running questions all day long, and they'll be producing hundreds of thousands of queries per month, right? It's gonna run people a very hefty price to kind of just run query on data that they own, right? So what if you just give them the component and let them kind of use it as is? There's a bunch of options there. There's architecture, there's subscription based, one-time payment. There's a lot of things that are included in this particular endeavor. But because this is user facing, it's really important for people to see what this actually looks like up close. Do you want to do the low level architecture for this?
Okay. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So we know, let's start from the back, right? So we know that we need an AI broker. That AI broker will be basically talking to the OpenAI.net library that we built. We need that. And we know that we need a storage broker. Okay, so let's put some services on top of these. So these are foundation services. So here's our AI service, and here's our storage service. Right? And this guy needs to be extremely generic. Like it literally returns an IEnumerable of dynamic. It'll be very, very interesting just driving something like that. And then what do you think? We need an orchestration service, maybe? Something like
Uh,
that. And then uh, we would have something like entity intelligence orchestration service. So because I did the POC of this, I know that there is a little bit of data processing. So we're probably going to need to throw a couple of processing services on top of these. Trust me on that one, because I was playing around with this and I got got surprised a couple of times. So here's entity intelligence. So this is AI processing service, right? And this will be the storage processing service. Cool. Is there anything else? I could not think of anything else other than these. And then in front of this, you will have the client basically. So you're basically saying entity intelligence client. We already talked a lot about how to do dependency injection and these things and all that kind of stuff. So this is very, very straightforward. What's really more important to me than anything is that people kind of see how we think about a problem like this and how we break down a problem like this. So all of these are services, right? And these services are and there are dependencies, right? In the big picture in here, that's what really lives inside of this EI.net. So this is like a zoom in kind of low level architecture for what we really are trying to accomplish in here. So let me paste that in here. So that's what we call low level architecture.
And if we need to build more storage brokers, then we just need another one of these, and then build a coordination on top of the
No, 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 no,
orchestration.
no, no. We don't have to do that. Instead, I want to. So AI already knows the difference between a MySQL query or an Access query or a SQL Server query. And
Mm,
Dapper is already module for that. So instead of doing that, we would do something like this. We'd be like SQL.net. So that's a release. And you'll
mm,
have EI dot I don't know, MySQL.net and AI.access.net and so on. So
okay.
you're 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 horizontally scaling instead of just piling everything in one
Mm,
place. Let's break it apart. So if people want to leverage that service for a particular database technology, let them go ahead and do it. Just like how the
okay.
entity framework people did their thing, right? The entity framework folks, they basically went in and said, okay, we'll make an entity framework core, but here's a SQL one, here's an Oracle one, here's a MySQL one, here's a Postgres one, and so on and so forth.
Mm, mm, mm. Works for NoSQL as well, right? For entity
Yes.
framework. Yeah.
So this looks like a legitimate, I don't know why I colored the, from my perspective, this looks like a legitimate architecture because you're basically going here and saying, I want to be able to, let's just visualize this. You have the request coming in, you go to AI, you convert that into a query, and then you go hit the query in the database, and then you spit out from the other side. This is like the easiest project you and I probably have ever done. It's too straightforward, way too straightforward. But you know, the devil is in the detail, like they say, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
detail here is that you'll see, like, you'll try to query like a 2000 table database, right? And AI will say, nope, I can't support that amount, right? So we end up with two routes. There's the optimization route where you go and say, okay, look at the query and see what entities are relevant to the tables that they're querying and only navigate in these, teach AI only about these pieces, or we go the hard route, which is probably the right route, into a self-hosted Dockerized kind of AI server service running on your local machine. But we can't ship that as a library. So that's the other challenge that people are going to have to we're going to have to think about.
We build it as a service, right?
But
With
it as an
hosting.
API, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the route. So let's do this. So because this is a new project, I want to go ahead and create like a new GitHub repository for this. So gosh, I do have like 20 million of these at this point in time. So I'm gonna call it standard.ai.data.entity intelligence. What do you think? Since all our libraries are gonna be like standard dot something dot something, this looks like, what do you guys think? People watching, do you think that's a good name? Standard AI data entity intelligence. This could be the project name, but like this is like the resource name, but the NuGet package could be just EI.net or something like that. Hey Hasanov,
Standard data.
you know how we built
What do we
basically
have? Yeah, how do we what do you have as the other library built?
yeah, the other
AI,
library was
OpenAI. Oh,
standard.ai.openai, basically.
okay.
I think
Do we
entity
want
intelligence is
data?
too long. Should we just say EI like that?
No, don't play the abbreviation game.
Okay.
Do we want data? Do you want the word data or it's, I mean, I thought entity kind of implies data. Hmm.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I know that there are gonna be things like AI dot, I don't know, communications dot chat AI. So you want to be able to kind of branch out,
Differentiate. Okay.
right?
Okay.
Communications like that.
Let's start with that.
Do
Let's
you
start
think
with that. Yeah.
data?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, and this is not like the library itself is not the thing that people are going to be using. It's whatever is built on top of that entity intelligence library that's actually going to be doing the magic.
Hmm.
Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. I think we have a name, which is cool. We're probably gonna need a logo and something like that. Maybe I need to talk to Greg to convince him to to create all the different resolutions for for the component. But hey, we figured out how to do things right, so that's cool, right? I'll put it under MIT and then Azure boards, Azure pipelines. Yeah, I'll use, yeah, this is all good. Okay, yeah. And this is a .NET library to convert natural language query into SQL queries, right? And generate results. Oh, look, I didn't know this. GitHub now tells you, hey, here's a suggested name. Effective Engine. That's a terrible name. Gregory's like it grew on me. Cool. Okay. So so yeah, here's a library. You know, what you and I, this is just kind of, getting the community to think about, what we want to build. This is our new .NET library. Um, we could start tomorrow, okay, by actually building the infrastructure for this, and start kind of developing. So I'm going to create a project for this. So this is our, let's see here, can I create milestones? New milestone. Okay, and this here, initialize, initialize entity intelligence project, right? So this is the initialization. And I want to create a bunch of labels. So infra, I think that's why they have these templates, right? So you can basically go and say, hey, you don't need to keep adding these labels every single time. You could just go ahead and and just copy a template and it'll do that for you. So what do we need to do here? So infra, initialize AI core. So that's one. You're going to be doing some of that with me tomorrow, Kailu?
Uh, Same time tomorrow,
Same
or
time.
I'll let you know tomorrow.
Okay. AI dot test
Tomorrow is
unit.
tricky.
Yeah. What about 10? Does 10 work for you?
Tomorrow is tricky. I don't know.
Oh,
Again,
not
I don't
necessarily
know.
tomorrow, but moving onwards.
Yeah, that of course. Yeah.
Cool. Initialize AI dot core dot test dot acceptance. Yes, right. So all of this we need to initialize. And then we also want to, gosh, there's so many of these. Infra initialize AI dot core dot infrastructure dot build, right? But there is no provisioning for this because it's not a domain thing. So it should be, what did he say? You already have the logo. What? Oh yeah, that's right. He's right. I already have the logo. I already put a, if you look at the thumbnail of the project, yeah, he's right. Look at the thumbnail in here. That's the logo. That's right. That's true. But we need to put color on it. Gregory. We need to put some colors on it, otherwise it's not gonna. It's okay. Initialize core infrastructure, build acceptance unit and core, and also we want integration. Initialize AI.core.tests.integration, integration tests. This will be also infrastructure. There you go. And then what else? And I need to update the documentation for this. If someone from the community wants to update it, please by all means go ahead, help out. This is the chance. Core, unit, acceptance, integration, and build. And I need to talk to Chris to do TUI about the whether we can have a release thing because he's been working on that part, like automatic releases to NuGet.org. I think that would be pretty cool. Anyway, I'll put all of these under a milestone of Initialize AI project, like this. And then Kailu, I need to add you as a collaborator. So let's do that real quick. Here you go. Come on, come on. Here we go. Right, and then let's add who, Kailu?
Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah. Oh.
Found you.
Yeah.
So that's the project. And what else do you think we're missing? I'll give Greg the logo and I'll let him update the I need to add Greg as well. I know he's going to be helping us a lot about this. Gregory Hayes. Gregory, what's your thing? GL Hayes? There he is. Cool. All right. Okay. Cool. You guys are lucky because so Kailu knows, but Greg and other people, if you live nearby, I'm not gonna ask. I'm just gonna go and just unplug your machine and be like, you're working with me now on this project. This is your life for the next couple of months. So that's now. So okay, what do you think, Kay? Do you think these are all the things we need? I think so.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, you can always add on top, right?
We can always add. Yeah, let's bang all of these out. Thursday. What do you think?
Thursday or Wednesday?
Yeah. Yeah.
Today's
Wednesday.
Monday.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday.
yeah.
Hey,
Tomorrow.
Sergio. Morning, guys from Spain. This project seems amazing. Yes, it is. Thank you. Um, okay. Wednesday we go. Cool.
Yeah,
All right. And I'll try to kind of, while I'm at it, I want to also update the documentation for the project just so people know where we're headed. The project is really super straightforward, but I really want people to have at least the high level documentation of the project so you just know where things are going. So I'm just going to go up in here and go into GitHub and go in the code, create this. I'm just going to slap that in there. I love how that I can just slap the image and GitHub just knows, right? And I'm going to give them the low level architecture as well. I mean, I know it's going to evolve. Should I put the low level architecture now or should I wait until things get a little clearer? What do you think?
yeah. You should give it like when things are a little clear.
Okay, I'll wait on the low level then. I'll wait on the low level. So what is this documentation?
I mean,
Update.
it probably won't be much different, but
I don't think it will, but you never know, right?
mm,
So here's users, Hassan, Habib, documentations, dash, add high level. I'll wait a second, and we'll have someone needs to have start adding the series and videos and all that good stuff. But for now, and we need to add the rules. It's a new project. It's fun, right? So here's a new project. And hopefully, the one thing that I want people to kind of understand. Let me answer that question first. Zia says, "Hi, are you guys going to be live on Wednesday?" Yeah, Wednesdays Pacific Standard Time at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and every day except for Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we'll just we'll just be offline. But other than that, we should be
We can
okay.
still do Friday if nobody
Yeah,
has anything better to do. Okay.
yeah. If time allows, definitely. Um, okay, Kay, we have a project. We're gonna kick it
Yeah.
off. I think it's gonna be fun. What do you think?
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
keep our hands dirty and keep the community kind of excited and learning about things, but also more importantly, and at the same time, people are just kind of starting to see how you take AI in different directions. I do
Mhm.
really think that our foundation is not is solid in terms of standardization, but we really need to think about the diversification of technologies in terms of being able to have self-hosted models using the llama model or something like that to kind of
Mhm.
continue in that direction
Mhm.
because we're going to be building a lot of things on top of that. So if OpenAI goes offline, what now, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we're gonna have to be more
Mhm.
resilient than this, right?
Mhm. 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 Now you're going to a direction of data, right? And
Yeah.
then next you may go to different another direction in terms of programming languages.
Oh
Like
yeah. I'm never
some
gonna run short on ideas. I know
yeah,
that.
yeah. Some languages are doing something better than others, right? So
That's right. That's right. We'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out, and thanks to the people kind of joining us today. I appreciate the engagement, and let's connect Wednesday night and see how far we can take this. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you all. Take care.
Subscribe us.